Hi, everybody. This is Steve Stolreier at Restoring Hope Counseling and Coaching. Again, thanks for taking the next few minutes to learn some things about how to manage your own anxiety. So, in summary, where we've been up to this video, which is now the fifth in the series, the first three videos really kind of lay a foundation of where anxiety comes from, how the body responds to anxiety, and begin to talk about some thinking patterns that generate and sustain anxiety. And then in our last video, I spoke specifically about a one kind of thinking pattern that generates anxiety, probably the most common one, and that is called that's the thinking pattern we call the what ifs, where we are what ifing to extreme catastrophic negative conclusions. So today I want to talk about a second very popular or common thinking pattern that leads to and sustains anxiety, and that is when we are drawing conclusions that other people are evaluating us negatively and negatively to the extreme. Now, sometimes when we think about how other people are evaluating us, we can draw those conclusions and we can just push them to the side because the person who we think is evaluating us negatively really isn't that important to us. So this thinking pattern really is more involved when we are concerned about how other people who are close to us or who have great influence over us or our future, when we're concerned about how they are thinking about us. And then we are also drawing really extreme conclusions about them and how they're thinking about us. When you think about what the what ifs do to us and what this pattern of thinking do to us, really in both cases, these thinking patterns are really, really unfair and unfair to us. And in the case of this thinking pattern, unfair to the other person. The what ifs are unfair to us because we are concluding things about our future that we really have no idea if our conclusions are correct, but our conclusions about the future is affecting us today. And so the thinking of assuming what other people are thinking about us is really unfair to us and to the other person because we're drawing conclusions about the other person without any evidence. And so let me give you an example. So for about 6 years, my family and I ran a nonprofit organization in which we took thousands of pounds of food to small towns in South Central Ohio. And one town in particular was a town called Ironton, Ohio, about 3 hours from here. And so what I would do is I had the fortunate opportunities to build connections with several places that would donate food to my nonprofit. Then I would take it and give it away for free to organizations in the city of Ironton, and then they would give it to people who were in need. So I would take between 4 and 7,000 pounds of food one Saturday a month. I'd drive out there. I had a 18-foot box truck that we load up, and and I would drive out there, and typically one of my kids would drive out there with me, and so we'd spend the day. I'd spend the day with my son or my daughters, just hanging out with them helping us. It was a great experience, and we shut that down about 2 years ago because essentially that organization just kind of ran its course. So anyway, so one particular Saturday I was driving with my son, and we were driving taking a different route, and we went through a small town about an hour to hour and a half or so from here. And my son and I needed to pull off into McDonald's to use the restroom. And so when I got out of the truck and we started to walk into McDonald's, there were a bunch of people, and some of them had looked out to us. And I didn't think much about it. We went in to use the restroom and came back out, and we're on our way. Well, the following month, essentially the same thing. That my son came out with me again that particular month, and we just went the same route, went into the same town, and we pulled off in the same McDonald's to use the restroom again. And so it was essentially a replay of the previous month. But when we got out of the truck to walk into the McDonald's to use the restroom, um, I saw some people in the McDonald's looking at us. I'm sure that they were different people, but what was created in my head almost automatically was, I wonder if these are the same people who saw us last month And what must they be thinking that 2 months in a row they're at McDonald's, and here comes these two guys in an 18-foot box truck stopping to use the bathroom? That must be really strange. And so I was concluding in my head what they may be thinking about me. And so that generated some level of anxiety until I was able to bat it away and dismiss it very, very quickly, because the likelihood that the same people were sitting there at the same time on a Saturday a month later, and that they were even thinking the things that I thought that they were thinking, if you can follow that, man, that was such a stretch for me to be accurate in those assumptions. And so I was able to dismiss them, to say, "Ah, come on, Steve, that is not, what are the chances that they're really thinking that of me?" And so I was able to dismiss them, and any anxiety that I had really went away, and we went about our business. So this is an example of how sometimes we create our own anxiety simply by concluding that other people think certain things about us. And most of the time, we don't have any evidence that the other person is actually concluding these things about us. Most of the time, we're just assuming it. And 97% of the time, literally, we are incorrect. So think about how many times you have sat with somebody, either at dinner or at work, or just hanging out at a kid's sporting event, and they give you a look or they do something that generates some thoughts in your head, and you begin concluding that that person thinks something about you. Think about how many times that probably happens to you and to me and to everybody on the planet. It happens a lot. And how we can dismiss them right away is to really think quickly about, well, might I be misreading this situation? Might I be misreading the event that the facial expression that I just saw? Might I just be wrong in the conclusion? Now, many of you probably will respond, or some of you probably will respond, as people have responded this way in my office. Well, I have evidence. I mean, they gave me this look, and okay, you have some evidence that they gave you the look, but do you have evidence for the conclusions that you thought in response to that look? And in some cases, you might actually have evidence, and the best evidence is that the person actually tells you what they were thinking about you. I mean, that's foolproof evidence. But short of that, we are just drawing conclusions about what other people are thinking about us. And when we do that, that can generate a lot of anxiety and concern and discomfort within ourselves. So I want to challenge you today, in order to help your own anxiety, is when you start feeling your emotions turn to anxiety, stop, pay attention to what you're thinking, because it's those thoughts that are driving anxiety. Pay attention to those thoughts. Assess if the conclusions that you're drawing about other people or about the future, assess if they are true or not, and if you have any evidence for them. If you don't have any evidence for them, then work hard to change your conclusions. If you do have evidence for them, then what I work with my clients on is how to problem solve those conclusions and how to address those conclusions or those predictions with other people. So hopefully this video was helpful for you today. If you would like to know more about me or about our company, Restoring Hope Counseling and Coaching, check us out on our website at www.restoringhopecc.com. And there'll be a lot of information on our website about us and about the services we provide and where we're located. If you'd like to speak with a counselor, there are ways on the website, on the front page, where you can send a message through the website to one of us, and we will respond very quickly to see what we can do to be of help to you. So thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.